The air in the diner, usually thick with the smell of frying bacon and stale coffee, felt particularly heavy to Clara that Tuesday morning. She moved with a practiced, weary grace between the worn vinyl booths, a tray balanced expertly on her fingertips. At 24, Clara had the eyes of someone who had seen too much of the world's hard edges, but her smile, reserved for the customers who treated her like a human being, was genuinely warm. She worked double shifts at the Daily Grind, a place that lived up to its name in every sense, to keep her small apartment and her younger brother, Leo, afloat. The bell above the door chimed, and a figure shuffled in, bringing a gust of cold November air with him. It was an old man, frail and stooped, wearing a threadbare coat that looked several sizes too large. His face was a road map of wrinkles, and his eyes held a deep, unsettling sadness. He didn't look like the usual clientele, the construction workers, the hurried commuters, or the retired couples. He looked lost. He settled into a booth near the back, his movements slow and deliberate, and simply stared at the laminated menu. Clara approached him, her voice soft. "What can I get for you, sir?" The man, whose name she would later learn was Arthur, looked up, his gaze unfocused. Just a coffee, dear, black." His voice was a dry whisper. As the morning rush subsided, Clara noticed Arthur hadn't touched his coffee. He was still sitting there, occasionally rubbing his temples with a hand that trembled slightly. She refilled his cup, not charging him for the second one. Around noon, he finally spoke again, his eyes fixed on a point just past her shoulder. "I haven't eaten in 2 days," he confessed, the words barely audible. "I came in here because it was warm. I have nothing left." Clara's heart clenched. She knew that feeling, the gnawing emptiness that went beyond hunger. She thought of Leo, who was only 10 and depended on her for everything. She looked around. Mr. Henderson, the owner, was in the back office, counting the till, his back to the dining area. "Sir," she said, leaning in conspiratorially, "I'm going to bring you the special. It's a turkey club and a bowl of soup. On the house. Don't worry about it." Arthur's eyes, dull moments before, suddenly shone with a startling clarity. "I can't accept charity, child." "It's not charity," Clara insisted, giving him her best, most genuine smile. "It's a mistake. The cook made too much. We'll have to throw it out if you don't eat it. You'd be doing me a favor." She quickly assembled the plate, a generous sandwich, a steaming bowl of creamy tomato soup, and a side of fries, and brought it to him. Arthur looked at the food for a long moment, then slowly, reverently, picked up the spoon. He ate slowly, savoring every bite, and with every spoonful, some of the tension seemed to drain from his shoulders. Henderson, however, had a sixth sense for anything that cost him money. He emerged from his office, his face a thundercloud, and stopped dead when he saw Arthur's plate. "Clara, what is this?" he bellowed, his voice echoing in the suddenly silent diner. Clara swallowed hard, stepping between her boss and the old man. "Mr. Henderson, don't you Mr. Henderson me. That's a $15 special." "Did he pay for it?" "No, sir, but he was cold and hungry. I told him it was a mistake, that we had extra. He's an old man. He needed help." Henderson's face turned a shade of puce. "We are not a charity, Clara. We are a business. Every plate, every cup of coffee has a price. You just cost me $15, and you did it right under my nose." He pointed a thick, accusing finger at the old man, who had stopped eating, his head bowed in shame. "And you, get out, now, before I call the police for theft." Arthur tried to stand, but Clara gently pushed him back down. "He's finishing his meal. Mr. Henderson, I'll pay for it. Deduct it from my paycheck." "Oh, I'll deduct more than that," Henderson snarled, his voice low and venomous. "You're fired, Clara. Get your things and leave. And if you ever set foot in this establishment again, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." Clara felt a cold wave of despair wash over her. Fired. Just like that. She had $300 in her savings, and rent was due in 2 weeks. She nodded, her eyes burning with unshed tears, and walked to the back to grab her worn backpack. As she passed Arthur's booth, he reached out and gently took her hand. "I am so sorry, child," he whispered, his eyes full of remorse. "I'd have caused you to lose your livelihood. Don't you worry about it, sir," Clara said, forcing a brave smile. "You just finish your soup. It was worth it." She left the diner, the bell chimming her exit, a sound that felt like the final, mournful note of her meager security. She walked home in a daze, the cold seeping into her bones, not just from the air, but from the crushing weight of her new reality. How would she tell Leo? The next morning, Clara woke up with a knot of anxiety in her stomach. She had spent the night applying for every job she could find online, from retail to cleaning services, but the fear of the unknown was a heavy blanket. She was just about to start making breakfast for Leo when her phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number, a private line. "Hello, is this Clara Hayes?" A crisp, professional voice asked. "Yes, it is. My name is Miss Davies. I am the executive assistant to Mr. Arthur Sterling. He would like to meet with you this morning. Can you be at the Sterling Tower downtown by 10 o'clock? Clara blinked, utterly bewildered. Sterling Tower, the tallest, most imposing building in the city, the headquarters of Sterling Global, a conglomerate that owned everything from tech startups to luxury hotels. Arthur Sterling was a name synonymous with power, wealth, and philanthropy, a name she had only ever seen in the business section of the newspaper. "Arthur Sterling?" she stammered. I think you have the wrong person. I'm just a waitress." "No, Miss Hayes, I have the right person. Mr. Sterling is expecting you. 10 o'clock. Do not be late." The line clicked dead. Clara stared at the phone, her mind racing. Could it be the old man from the diner? No, that was impossible. That man was destitute. But the name Arthur. She dressed in the best clothes she owned, a simple black skirt and a white blouse. Both slightly faded, and took the bus downtown. The sheer scale of the Sterling Tower was intimidating. The lobby was a cathedral of polished marble and glass. A world away from the greasy vinyl of the daily grind, she approached the reception desk, her palms sweating. "I'm here to see Mr. Arthur Sterling. My name is Clara Hayes." The receptionist, a woman with an air of cool detachment, checked her list. Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise in her professional mask. "Miss Hayes, Mr. Sterling is waiting for you. Take the express elevator to the top floor." The elevator ride was silent and swift, a dizzying ascent to the pinnacle of the city. When the doors opened, she stepped into an office suite that felt more like a penthouse apartment. Miss Davies, the executive assistant, met her with a polite, if reserved, smile. "Right this way, Miss Hayes." She led Clara through a vast, sunlit room to a massive mahogany desk. Behind it, seated in a high-backed leather chair, was the old man from the diner. But he looked different now. He was wearing a bespoke suit that fit him perfectly, his silver hair neatly combed, and the sadness in his eyes was replaced by a profound, gentle warmth. He was still frail, but the air of destitution was gone, replaced by an unmistakable aura of quiet authority. "Clara, my dear," Arthur Sterling said, rising slowly to his feet. "Please, sit down." Clara sank into the plush chair opposite the desk, her legs suddenly weak. "Mr. Sterling, I don't understand. You were at the diner." He chuckled, a dry, warm sound. "Yes, I was. And I apologize for the deception, but it was necessary. You see, Clara, I have a great deal of money, and with a great deal of money comes a great deal of trouble. I'd have been searching for a successor, someone to take the reins of Sterling Global, but more importantly, someone to manage the Sterling Foundation. I'd have been testing people in my own family, my executives, people I thought I could trust. I've been doing it for months, in various disguises, looking for one thing: character." He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "I have found that the more money a person has, the more their true nature is obscured. But hunger, cold, and helplessness, those are the great revealers. I wanted to see who would look at a man who had nothing, and still see a human being worthy of respect and kindness." He paused, his eyes twinkling. "You, Clara, were the only one who saw me, not as a beggar, but as a man who needed a meal. You risked your job, your only source of income, for a stranger. You offered me dignity when I had none. That, my dear, is the kind of character I need." Clara was speechless, tears welling up again. But this time they were tears of disbelief and overwhelming relief. "I have a proposition for you," Arthur continued, his voice firm. "I am retiring. I want you to take over the Sterling Foundation. It manages billions of dollars and is dedicated to combating homelessness and food insecurity, the very things you helped me with. You will have a salary that will ensure you and your brother never have to worry about rent or food again. And you will have the power to make a real difference in the Eula's 24 hours of her life." She thought of Leo, of tea,